Welcome to AI Bible Study and Sermon Preparation Tips, Tricks, and Strategies Part 2. Now let me stress, this is Part 2, which means you really want to watch Part 1. You want to have that in your tool chest because I have a lot of prompts in there. Now, many of the prompts I've revised, but I have other prompts that are new with this one, and I have some prompts that I did not repeat or replace. So between the two of them, you're going to have a great set of prompts for Bible study. But we're going to go a little bit further and deeper than we did last time, taking advantage of the new technology. So let's go ahead and jump over there right now. But before we do that, I want to make sure that we walk through some of the AI features that are currently available in Logos right now. Now, I'm using the beta version 38, so most things should line up to what you have. So let's begin first with the search engine. And that's probably the first place you want to go for leveraging AI within Logos. To access it, you click on the search magnifying glass, you click all, you'll see the little AI icon right here. Now, Logos is getting pretty powerful with this, and let me demonstrate something that I did the other day that I think is really helpful. So I'm going to just jump to 1 Peter 3, and this is a standard thing you'll do. You'll be reading the text, and then you want to know what a word means, right? So you right-click on a word, and when you right-click on the word, you get the morphological information. Very straightforward. And it turns out Logos can help you understand that morphological information a little bit quicker. Now, I'm going to go specifically, I'm going to say define, or I'll say this, explain the following morphology, all right? We're going to put in verb, comma, aorist, and we'll do imperative, and I'm just going to press enter. Now, one of the things that's nice about the Logos All search is it gives you this synopsis page. And this can be very helpful in summarizing. Now, you can see here the morphology. I'll click more to expand. Verb, aorist, imperative refers to specific grammatical properties of a word. A verb is part of a speech and so forth. The aorist aspect in this context is a tense that indicates a completed action. Okay? So it's kind of giving us a quick summary. Now, if we were to change this to, let's say, verb present imperative, and we run the exact identical search, changing aorist to present, Logos will give us a different synopsis. In this case, after we get the results, we can read as follows. Okay, so there it is. And the imperative mood is used to express commands, request instructions. And you can see here that it's helping you understand what the morphology means. Morphology, verb, present imperative, refers to a specific form of verb used to give commands or direct orders in the present tense. And so you can see that there. So I share this because sometimes the morphology can be a little difficult to understand. In the past, you would have to search through grammar books to try to figure out what it means. Now these little synopses can help. Now what we can do is explain something like this. Explain the difference between verb present imperative and verb aorist imperative. And this is just one example of the type of search you can do. And let's see if Logos can handle it. And so in a few moments, the synopsis comes back, and hopefully we'll get some information. Now here we go. In one of the articles discussing Matthew 5:39, let's go there. Okay. Reveals a distinction between a verb present imperative and a verb aorist imperative. Now this is nice because it found you an example. The article notes that in this passage there's a pattern where a present tense verb in the protasis or protasis, the if clause, is followed by an aorist imperative verb in the apodosis, the then clause. However, the article does not provide explicit explanation of the differences between the two forms. To fully address the query about the difference, more detailed information will be needed. Now, I show you that this is how you would do it, but you can see there's a limitation. Now, let's introduce ChatGPT to the equation, all right? And I'm going to go ahead and open it up. There's the ChatGPT.com. I'll go ahead and give you guys that link. Most of you are familiar with it. And let's put in that exact identical question, okay? But let's do it from here. So we're going to copy and paste the question. There it is. And we're going to use in reference to Matthew 5:39. Okay? And now let's see if we can get some insights. Okay? So almost identical, pretty much. And here we go. Now, implication is given right here. When Jesus uses a verb in the present imperative, he calls for a lifestyle or an ongoing practice of action or command. The aorist, when Jesus uses a verb in the aorist imperative, he commands a definitive, specific action. Now, we get down to here, we have the application, and we can see those. And then we have the Greek grammar and the summary. In Matthew 5:39, the aorist imperatives call for immediate specific action in the face of provocation, but these actions illustrate broader kingdom ethics meant to shape a disciple's habitual response. So if we go back to the text, we can see that. Do not resist an evil person who slaps you on your right cheek, turn him other. If anyone wants you to sue, take your shirt. So you can see these in here. So Logos can be helpful drawing from your library, but sometimes Logos falls short, and you're going to need to expand the search into open text or another AI tool. So I just wanted to kind of reveal that. There is the ability to search in the books. You'll notice, though, that Logos now has this drop-down menu, smart versus precise, and that can be helpful as well. One advantage of this is we can click on all books and we can select a particular collection. So let me go ahead and choose my theology all, just keep it simple, and explain to me, or better yet, let's say summarize the idea of justification, just to keep it simple, okay? And notice that we're using the smart search, but we're narrowing our search down to our theology books. And of course, the search results below are very helpful, and we can click summarize and get some key summaries. But if we click here on more, the concept of justification is discussed in the provided articles as a central theological idea, and then it goes through listing these and then various other views. So very, very helpful and very, very useful. So when you're looking for a quick summary, the all search or the books with a specific collection can be very helpful. Another place where the AI is involved, if you go to Documents and you click New and you click Sermon, you're going to see that we have some options, okay? And let me make those available. Here's the AI right here. And when we click on the AI icon, we have right here Sermon Assistant, which can generate outlines, illustrations, questions, and applications. Again, very limited, but let's run these and show you the difference between Logos and OpenAI. So let's put in a passage, 1 Peter 3. We'll do 18 through 22, and we'll select the verse, and then I'll put that up here as well so you can see the passage. All right, and we're going to jump over here. There we go. And then the sermon theme, okay, this is about Christ and Noah, very high level. And again, we're looking for outlines. Go ahead and click Generate. And in a few minutes, Logos will generate an outline from that basic information we entered. And so it will take just a moment. It's pretty quick, but here you go. And now we got our Bible passage. We have summary, application, teaching, how this passage could point to Christ, big idea. And then here's our specific outline. Christ's purposeful suffering, Noah's faith proclaims, waters of salvation. All right? Not bad. And we can click Insert and bring that right into our tool, and now we can work with that. Now, let's say we do the same thing in ChatGPT. So let's do that. We'll go ahead and go right there right away. And for this one, I'm going to click New One, and I'm going to say, create an outline for from 1 Peter 3, 18 through 22. Okay, now that's very basic. Now we could, if we wanted to, get more specific. We could say, and I'll do this, we could say, following this pattern. Now I want to show you this little trick. This is pretty cool. Create an outline from 1 Peter 3, 18, 22. Use the following example to guide the results. Okay? This way we can get something very similar. Now I'm going to go ahead and paste it all in there and press enter. Now it should generate a completely different outline, but it may not. Okay? Delivered through the waters of Christ, Christ's victory in baptism, and you can see a slight difference there. Now we're going to get some summaries. There it is. Paul explores application, teaching, how, big idea. Christ's purposeful suffering, Christ's proclamation of victory, Noah's faith in God's patience, baptism as a symbol of salvation, Christ's resurrection and exaltation. So now we got 5 points, and again, some more information there. So as you can see, we can leverage what Logos has done and advance that even further with the ChatGPT. So that's pretty cool. Also, you'll notice that we can look for illustrations, generate questions, and applications. So I won't go through each one of these, but to let you know, that's where the AI is and can be very helpful. All right, that's all I wanted to show you in Logos as far as AI, but now I want to jump to OpenAI, ChatGPT. We're also going to use Claude. I don't know if many of you are familiar with Claude. Let me bring that in so you can see that, and I'll give you that link as well. And I have found that both tools are very good, but each one has strengths and weaknesses. And so you may, when one doesn't work, jump to the other. All right. Now, I am a subscriber to both of these. I do pay the $20 for each one because of the amount of use that I take advantage of it quite a bit for work and for what I do for sermon prep. All right. So let me pull up my personal book. You can see that as well. And let me just bring that over here into the screen. And you can see over at the left our table of contents. There is a lot of information here, okay? It's actually 35 pages of prompts, nearly 8,000 words. There is a lot there, okay? Now, just a couple more things before we get started into these various prompts. Tools save time, and ChatGPT, and I could probably put in here Claude as well, and others, all right, are revolutionary tools. And we've come a long way in just a short time. And they can significantly save time, improve your processes, and help in your studying and presentation of God's Word. Now, there is a couple books here that you might want to be aware of. I did check this one out recently, and it's not too bad. But this is the link. That first link is to my original AI webinar. So there you go. You can purchase it online. And here is the book at Amazon. Let me just go ahead and pull that open, and so you can see that there. This is The Art of Prompt Engineering with ChatGPT 4. So this is the one I showed originally, and then let me show a new one that I have. This book, Leveraging ChatGPT for Deeper Bible Studies, you can see the table of contents here, will actually walk you through with various prompts, and they're very straightforward. They're not complicated. So here's some verse lookup and cross-referencing. Okay, so I'll walk you through and explain what it can do. But here's a good example, word studies. Okay, so use ChatGPT to find occurrences of specific words across the Bible. For example, in which verses does the word love, agape in Greek, appear in the Gospel of John? Now I'm going to go ahead and copy that and just go ahead into ChatGPT and paste that. And let's see what we get for some results. So we're going to go ahead and I like to do a new chat every time I do this. We'll paste it. And we'll go ahead and press enter. It's okay to leave the citation in there. And so here we go. Now, you'll notice first, it's giving us a prompt and giving us some examples. And then it says, if you want to perform this search, please provide more detail. All right, so we're going to go ahead and right here, we're going to run that search and run it. And as soon as we run it, we're going to see that, notice that ChatGPT is giving us the Greek. It has the ability to understand Greek, Hebrew, Aramaic, and any other foreign language that you have. And now we're getting a concordance search for every verse in there. Very cool. Now, one of the things that you can do is find all occurrences, and we're going to go ahead and put in that Greek word, and draw me, or let's do this, and visualize with a table. Now you're going to notice that I'm doing some mistypings. And I'm going to leave those there just so you can see how ChatGPT can handle it and actually save you some time of you going back and re-editing it. Okay, so I'm going to find all occurrences and visualize the table. Now notice I didn't say in the Bible. I could certainly have done that, and I may need to based on the prompting. But you're going to see in just a second that it's doing the analysis, and we'll see if it can visualize with a table. And we'll give it another minute here. It'll go pretty quick. All right, so now I said with a table, and that's exactly what it did, a table. All right, but watch this. Visualize with a bar chart for the New Testament. Okay, and let's see if we can take this even further. Now again, notice that my prompt is very straightforward. I'm having a conversation. Again, I'm going to show you very specific prompts to run. This is kind of an ad hoc example that I'm doing right here. And so we're going to give the ChatGPT another moment. There you go. And now I can click the double arrow and expand the chart, and there you go. Very powerful. So I didn't know if you knew, but ChatGPT can generate images and charts for you. Very powerful and very useful. So when you're generating results, you can always say, visualize that for me in a particular diagram that you prefer. Okay? Pretty cool. Now, we could even take this further and say, create a scatter plot. Okay? And we can do that. Now, again, you can do this in Logos as well, but I'm just showing you there's some real possibilities here to go further. And that should make things a little bit easier for you in case Logos, due to the categorical nature. So there you go. So it tells us the book names need to be converted to numerical indices and handled using appropriate. So see how it's smart enough to figure it out. And now we have a scatter plot. Pretty cool. Okay? And so forth. So I'll let that to your imagination, but nevertheless, very, very cool. Now let's return back to the document and we'll go forward. So the three tools that I'll be using, really the first two, but the three tools that you should be aware of is ChatGPT, Claude, and Gemini. Gemini is getting more and more powerful every day, so it's one you definitely want to include. Now, one thing you have to learn in using AI is learning how to refine and improve your prompts so the results are more detailed, accurate, and comprehensive. So let's go back to our previous example here and say, generate, watch this. This is really a great technique. Generate a prompt for creating visual bar charts for any given biblical information. Pretty straightforward. And when you do this, ChatGPT will now say in language that it understands even better. I want to create a bar chart to visualize, and then there's specific data. The chart should display categories, book sections on the x-axis and data points, right, on the y-axis. So we now have control over those. Label the axis clearly, and then here's an example. Okay? So this is really powerful. We can take then this example, and now we can use it as a template, paste it in there, and we can do it. Or we can actually use the actual template it gave us, and we can put in whatever information we want. So we could put in, let's say, justification, okay? And the chart should display, and we're going to leave this, books of the Bible, okay? Get the idea on the x-axis, and the data points, okay? And we could say, data points, we'll say frequency of the word in parentheses, okay? Pretty straightforward. And on the y-axis, and then include a descriptive title, adjust the layout for readability, use the following data, and we'll say, use the following data from the New Testament. Okay? And now we can run the search. So you can, after you finish your results, ask ChatGPT to generate the prompt as a prompt template. And that will give you the ability to save what you've just done and refine it in a way that you can reuse it in the future. And there we go. And now we have our chart, and it's beautifully done. Very cool. So learning to refine is important. So after you get the final results, that's when you're going to use the special message, generate a prompt, okay? And or you could say improve or refine this prompt as a improve or refine this prompt as a template. I'm going to say as a prompt template. Okay, let me go ahead and give you that text and run it. And so this little extra step at the end of getting your results is a great way to then save and store these. Now, what do you do with this information? What I recommend doing is going back to Logos. Let's go ahead and do that. And I would create a notebook of all your specialized prompts. So we're going to go to Tools on the main menu, and then we're going to type in Notes. We're going to click Notes, click the hamburger menu right here. We're going to click the notebook icon. We're going to click the plus inside the circle, and we're going to call this AI Prompts. And then put in parentheses for Bible study. All right, press enter. It's going to go away. We have to search for it, so we'll type in AI Prompts. There it is. And now we click New Note, and we want to label the first line and bold it as a label. But let me go ahead and paste it in there. And we're going to call this, let's call this Visualize Bar Chart. Okay? We're going to select it and bold it. The reason we do that is now it's very easy to do. So now, and you can probably left click, and this is something you're going to want to do often. So I recommend going to Tools, Favorites. So click on Tools, type in Fav, click on Favorites. And what we'll do is we'll click we'll click Add here, and let's see, we've actually got the link Open Panels. I think that's a good approach, so let's do that. We'll just click it right here from the Open Panel. You can see it's inserted here. So now if I close my notebook, and I close my favorites, and I click my shortcut to favorites, I'm going to have my AI prompts right here, and then there is the list. Now we could kind of hide this window a little bit, and let's see. I don't want to do it that way. Let's get rid of the filter, and there we go. And I'm going to delete this, go back to add, because I want to re-add with the format that I have. Let's see if it's smart enough to remember that. So we'll click and close. We'll open it up. There it is. I'm going to click this, close it, and see if Logos remembers. So see how Logos remembers the settings. So it's always important, get it arranged the way you want it, then add it to favorites, and it will capture the panel settings and everything. So now we've got a very workable template notebook of all our ChatGPTs. Very, very good, all our prompts. Let's go back to our template personal book. And I'm going to do a handful of these, but I'm not going to do all these because we'd be here for like 10 hours. All right. So what I've done is I've broken up the Bible study process. And the first step is, of course, prayer example 1 and prayer example 2. Now, in this prayer example 1, and I'll give you guys this particular prompt that you can save. But let me go to ChatGPT, and again, I'm going to do a new prompt. And I'm just going to paste this in here. And notice it says insert passage. So we're going to put in 1 Peter 3:18 through 22. Now, we're not going to have ChatGPT pray for us. We still need to do that. But what we are going to do is have it guide us. Now, look at this prompt. Prepare a bolded list of topics categorized to pray through based on the Bible passage, 1 Peter 3:18, utilizing Jesus' prayer framework from Matthew 6:9. That's the disciples' prayer, Our Father who art in heaven. And the example from John 17. The reason I included John 17 is because that's one of Jesus' longest prayers. It's very clear, and it also gives us more insight into praying. And so by combining those two texts, we've created a framework to guide us. So here we are, 1 Peter 3:18. Our Father in heaven, hallowed be your name. Worship and adoration. So praise God for his justice and mercy in Christ's atoning sacrifice. Exalt Jesus as the righteous one who brings us to God. Worship God for his sovereign authority. You see how we're now being guided in our thoughts to pray. That's the idea. It's to brainstorm. It's to make sure you think and contemplate. Now, don't go and get all rote and just say this mindlessly, but think about it and make sure you agree with it. Make sure that you're seeing the connection with the text. So this can be a great way to stir up prayer in your life. Very, very cool. All right? Now, the next prompt, let's go back here, is a lot more complicated. You can see here I've got quite a few details for this one. I'm going to go ahead and copy that, and we'll paste that right in there. And again, we have to insert our passage, so we're going to go 1 Peter 3:18 through 22. All right, we'll see if there's anything else to add. There's not. There's a lot of information here. So essentially, this is from my digital sword book. I have a lot of information there in prayer, and now it's going to follow this particular template that I've asked. Here's the 5 critical prayers. Here's the 7 principles of prayer, and then here's the reflect principle of prayer as well. So very, very cool. Again, this is to prompt you to think about these things as you pray. Very cool. All right. Now, the next one is observing. And I've really have improved a lot of these prompts so we can go much more deeper. So again, notice the template, insert passage, and now we're doing this observation. So we're looking at genre, basic observation, narrative elements, literary analysis, biblical themes, word analysis, and then here's the final output. Now, notice that you're going to see this a lot in my prompts. Let me go ahead and paste this in here. And I'm going to, again, leave, since we're all in the same passage, I'm going to leave this, reuse the same window. So we'll put in, again, our passage, 1 Peter 3:18. And I want you to see how the results are a little bit different. All right, there we go. We press enter. And something that I really encourage you when you're using these various prompts is to output your information into a table. I have found that tables are much more clean and easier to read. And also they can help you just keep information concise. Notice that ChatGPT is still analyzing. And notice, too, that our prompts are getting bigger and longer from last time we did this. So here we go. Now I can expand this by clicking Expand Table, and we can see the information. And we can also move the table around. It's really cool. All right, and we can get the information there. Now in this case, we have each Bible verse, we have the category, and then we have the details. Notice this is very summary information, very straightforward. Okay, and that's the idea behind this initial analysis. And so very, very powerful in getting you to think through these things. We'll just click on the double arrow, and I'll return it there. And pretty straightforward. All right, so let's go back to the prompting book, and here we go. The next one is outlining. Now this is pretty neat. And we're going to do this in both of them. I want you to see some new capabilities when it comes to outlining for ChatGPT. So I'm just going to paste this in here. We've got our mark passage already in there. Actually, let's change that. We want to do 1 Peter 3:18 through 22. Now, this particular one is looking to create a block diagram. This took a little time to fool around with this, but I think you're going to appreciate the new capabilities. And I'm going to go ahead and open up Claude AI as well, just so I have that ready to go. There it is. All right. Now you can see the traditional block diagram. We're just indenting the text, and this can be very useful for looking. Okay? And so this is a nice visual with the indenting. But I also have an analysis of this grammatical relationship, so we understand these clause relationships. And we can see there. So main clause, subordinate clause, modifiers. And that's pretty cool. As you can see, it's taken a few moments to get in there. We're getting the essential information. And now we can understand the grammatical relationships. Now, once this is completed, we have several options. Now, look at this. We have a key observation, because I like to see if there's any chiastic structures or any parallelism. And so it actually generates a chiastic structure for me to consider. And I don't take this as gospel, but it's to be thought-provoking, to see, hey, is there some parallelism going on here? We have a thematic progression as well. Now, watch this. Let's see how ChatGPT does this. We're going to say visualize, and I'm going to say the analysis of the grammatical relationship. And let's just see if we can visualize something. So I want to see it here, and I'm going to run this exact same prompt here in Claude. Let me go back here and get that while that's working very hard. There we go. And we'll go back to Claude now. Helps to copy it properly. There we go. And then we'll go back to here. There we go. We'll let that do some business there. Now, here's an example where we did a visual, but it's very confusing, isn't it? Not exactly what we want. But if you follow the lines, it's kind of interesting here. There is some, we have, it's a little too complicated. So that's not going to quite work for us. So it's always just saying visualize. I like to just run that and see if it can make a visual from it. And if it can, great. If it can't, then we move on. All right, so we'll go ahead and close that down. But nevertheless, pretty powerful. Now, look at this. And this is what I wanted to show you. In the Claude, it actually did a little bit of diagramming for us. Let me see if I can zoom in on this, make it a little bit easier to read. All right, so you can see the main narrative. They came to Jericho. We have a temporal sequential as he was leaving Jericho. Here's the circumstantial, main character introduction, and we're walking through the flow of the text with these specific information. And if you look closely, these look like the outlines, propositional outlines. And it's very similar. Pretty cool. So we can get this visual to help us run through it. So I love that flexibility. It's going to be different with every text. This will be different if we look at an epistle or something along those lines. So be aware that the Claude has this unique capability to visualize way better than ChatGPT. So be aware of that. And again, each one has strengths and weaknesses. All right, Walter. John, I have a friend who uses these tools to do book research, and he told me that saves a ton of time, but always has to be checked to make sure it's accurate, so you're absolutely correct. Absolutely. You never take these things as 100% accurate. You must always verify. And that's why you can ask for more detailed information that you might have in your book and then in your books in your library, and that can be used to confirm things. So that can be very useful. All right, excellent point. Never forget that. All right, now this next one is, I'm not going to run all these, but it's to show you what's possible. So we can run a summary of the textual, lexical, morphological, grammatical, syntactical, discourse, and literary. By the way, I have created for you guides, and we'll type in clear, and you can download the clear sermon method from my from the Logos public documents. If you go to documents, type in public, type in clear, you'll see the clear sermon method workflow. Just click that, add to your docs, you're good to go. But you have to look in the guides. That's where it's going to appear. And if we actually look at the table, we'll put in the verse here, 1 Peter 3, 18 through 22.